Grandview Studios, Los Angeles. Grandview Studios is one of the largest film production complexes in the world. Tourists travel from every corner of the country just to walk its backlots. But locals whisper something else about this place. They call it one of the most haunted locations in America. Legend has it that the studio was built directly over an old battlefield where soldiers fought and died generations ago, and that their restless spirits never left. 26-year-old Emily had no idea about any of this history. She had one dream, ever since she was a little girl, to become a successful actress. For 5 long years, she'd auditioned, waited tables, taken acting classes she could barely afford, and watched other people get the roles she wanted. She was close to giving up entirely. Then, one ordinary morning, her phone rang. A casting director on the other end told her that a major Hollywood director had seen her audition reel and wanted her for his upcoming film. Emily could barely breathe. She sent over additional tapes, and within days, she got the call. She'd landed the role. She received an invitation to shoot at Grandview Studios. When she arrived, it was even more breathtaking than she'd imagined. Massive sound stages, elaborate sets, a buzzing crew moving with purpose. After meeting the cast and crew, she retreated to her green room, still in disbelief that her dream was finally coming true. That's when she heard it. A strange noise coming from behind the closed bathroom door inside her green room. It sounded like knocking, like someone trapped, desperate to get out. Emily approached cautiously and opened the door. Nothing. No one was there. She stood there confused for a moment, and then a sudden cracking sound shattered the silence. She spun around to see the large mirror on her dressing table split down the middle with a deep crack, and scrawled across the glass in what looked like dried red ink was something written in an old, unfamiliar script. Lips, pale, cold, forming a strange, slow smile. Breath visible and cold night air around her. Fearful face. Marcus' face going completely white with terror. Rain dripping from his hair. Eyes wide. Mouth open. Body completely frozen. Skull. Side view of Marcus and the woman facing each other at shelter. Rain pouring between them. Lightning exploding behind her. Ghost. Marcus slowly backing away one step at a time. Eyes never leaving her white, empty eyes. Fog swirling around both of them. Anxious face with sweat. Old white bearded man Earl running through rain toward Marcus. Face pure terror. Shaking hands reaching out desperately. Old man. Earl grabbing Marcus by the arm hard. Pulling him away from the woman. Both running toward small coffee shop lights. Person running. Small coffee shop at night. Warm yellow light glowing inside. Rain hammering old tin roof. 2 men running toward it desperately. Convenience store. Earl slamming coffee shop, door shut behind them. Looking out window at empty bus shelter. Woman completely vanished. Anxious face with sweat. Interior of small coffee shop at night. 2 terrified men at table. Steaming coffee cups. Flickering light overhead. Rain on windows. Hot beverage. Close-up of old Earl's weathered face telling story. Eyes haunted. Voice barely a whisper. Hands wrapped around coffee cup. Crying face. Flashback. 3 years ago. Beautiful young woman Nadia in red dress at bus shelter. Hopeful face. Waiting for someone she loves. Broken heart. Flashback. Nadia checking her phone again and again. James not coming. Rain starting to fall around her at the shelter. Crying face. Flashback. Dark hands pushing Nadia toward railroad tracks. Her terrified scream. Rain. Darkness. Betrayal. Face screaming in fear. Flashback. Railroad tracks at night. Blinding train light coming fast. Nadia's last moment. Then only darkness and silence. Skull. Flashback. Railroad tracks empty after. Rain washing everything away. Just tracks. Just silence. Just gone. Face without mouth back of coffee shop wall. Slow deep scratch marks appearing in old wood. Like long fingernails dragging deliberately. Fearful face. Turning in circles looking for a sign. Someone is in this water with us. Cassidy is playing a prank. Anxious face with sweat. Maya. Brianna's voice was very flat and very quiet. Cassidy doesn't play pranks. In a whole year, I have never once seen Cassidy play a prank on anyone. Maya stopped turning. She knew that was true. Skull. They were still searching, calling Cassidy's name, diving under, checking the banks, when a voice came from the path above the lake. "What are you two doing in there? Get out of that water right now, woman teacher." It was Ms. Patterson, their 7th grade English teacher, and also Brianna's mother, who had the habit of appearing at inconvenient moments with the particular authority of someone who is simultaneously your teacher and your friend's parent. She was standing at the bank with a paper bag of groceries and an expression of absolute zero tolerance. "Miss Patterson, we can't find Cassidy," she went under, and Maya started. "Out. Now. Both of you." I will not say it again. Face with steam from nose. The expression on Ms. Patterson's face was the kind that doesn't negotiate. Both girls came out of the water. "You two are out here swimming unsupervised while you should be getting ready for school next week. And honestly, the amount of times I have to." Ms. Patterson was already walking. "Brianna, you're coming with me. I need to talk to you about your reading assignment." "But Mom, Cassidy." "Maya, can you get home on your own?" "Yes, but..." Face screaming in fear. "Good. Brianna, with me. Now." Brianna looked back at Maya with wide, desperate eyes. Maya mouthed, "Go? I'll stay and look." Brianna nodded and followed her mother up the path. "Let's go." Maya sat on the bank alone. The lake was quiet. Too quiet. "Cassidy," she said. Not a shout this time. Quietly. "The way you talk when you're not sure what you're talking to. Cassidy, I know you're in there. I'm not leaving. I don't care how long it takes. You came into our lives from nowhere and became our best friend, and I am not just going home and pretending this didn't happen." Vet who examined Daisy thoroughly and found absolutely nothing wrong with her. Perfectly healthy goat. Just not producing milk. The vet had no explanation. Chester paid the vet bill and went back to staring at Daisy, anxious face with sweat. That evening, frustrated and worried, Chester pressed his ear against Daisy's side. He heard something. Faint. Rhythmic. Someone humming. Chester straightened up very slowly. He looked at his goat. He looked at the space around his goat. He thought about what he knew about Pinewood and the people, the various categories of people who lived here. He pointed at Daisy. "Ruby Wallace, I know you're in there." Inside Daisy, Ruby and her father exchanged a glance. Ruby stuck her head out through Daisy's side. Just her head, which was a slightly unusual visual. She looked at Chester. Chester looked at her. "My father's chest is much better," Ruby said. "Thank you for asking." Chester's face went through several expressions. Then he sat down on a hay bale. "How long have you been in my goat?" 3 days. Chester pinched the bridge of his nose. "Is your father in there too?" Ruby's father's head also appeared through Daisy's side. "Morning, Chester. Good hay you've got in here." Faced with tears of joy, Chester stared at both of them for a long time. Then he said, "You could have just asked me again. I did ask you. You said no. I might have reconsidered." "Chester, you have a sign on your gate that says humans only." Chester looked at the sign. "Look back at them. I made that sign 6 years ago after a situation with some swamp spirits that I'd rather not get into. It wasn't meant to be permanent policy." Ruby's father, whose chest was in fact significantly clearer, said from inside Daisy, "Chester, you know what? I don't think you're a bad man. I think you're a man who made a sign and then was too stubborn to take it down." Chester was quiet for a moment. "That's fairly accurate," he said. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Road led past Blackwood Manor. "Walter," Carol said. "I know," Walter said. He turned left. The trees closed in on both sides immediately, the way trees do on old roads that haven't been regularly traveled, branches reaching across the lane from both sides, almost touching overhead. The headlights caught them in the rain and through shifting shadows. After about half a mile, the driveway appeared on the right. A gap in the trees, 2 old stone pillars, and beyond them the outline of Blackwood Manor against the lightning-lit sky. It was enormous. 3 stories, Victorian-era construction, the kind of house that had been built to announce the wealth and permanence of whoever lived in it. The windows were dark. The wraparound porch sagged on one end. Ivy had consumed the east wall entirely. Emma pressed her face to the window to look at it. "Don't look at it," Carol said automatically. "Why not?" Carol didn't answer. They kept driving. Walter watched the driveway entrance disappear in his rearview mirror. Then the engine coughed. Once, twice, and died. The truck rolled silently for a few feet and then stopped, and in the sudden quiet the rain on the roof was very loud. "No," Walter said. He turned the key. Nothing. No, no, no. Again. A click, and then nothing. He sat with both hands on the steering wheel and looked at the darkness ahead of them. "Water in the engine," he said. "From that flooding we drove through earlier. I should have," he stopped. "I should have known." "What do we do?" Carol said. Walter thought. The Harmon farm was still a mile and a half ahead in the storm. Going back to County Road 7 meant going back through the flooding. The only shelter within walking distance was behind them. "The manor," he said. "Walter." "Carol, it's a building. It's a roof and 4 walls. We're not going to make it to the Harmon place on foot in this." People say a lot of things about empty old houses. Carol looked at her daughter. Emma was looking at her, the money, and looking slightly embarrassed about the whole situation. "I've lived next to supernatural folks my whole life. Never had a problem with any of you." "Just the sign," Ruby said. "Just the sign," he agreed. Daisy wandered over to the fence and looked at both of them with her calm brown eyes. Ruby reached over and scratched between her ears. Daisy leaned into it with the contentment of an animal who had briefly hosted 2 people inside her body and had decided, on reflection, not to hold it against them. That evening, Ruby and her father sat on their porch watching the Louisiana sunset over the bayou. Her father was on his 4th tomato of the day, which Ruby considered slightly excessive but chose not to comment on. "Chester's not a bad man," her father said. "I know. He just needed somebody to be decent to him first." Ruby thought about this. She thought about going inside a goat instead of knocking on Chester's door a second time and wondered if that was exactly the opposite of what her father was describing. She decided not to bring it up. "Dad, yeah, next time you eat too many mangoes and get a chest cough, I'm taking you straight to Patricia first." Her father ate another tomato. "Those were some good mangoes, though." Ruby looked at him. "Outstanding mangoes," he said. "Top quality mangoes. Worth it." Ruby shook her head, and they sat together in the Louisiana evening and watched the sky turn orange over the water and the Spanish moss go still in the cooling air. And somewhere on Route 7, Chester Wallace's goats were settling in for the night, and Pinewood was exactly what it had always been. A small Louisiana town where humans and non-humans and the occasional supernatural dairy customer all lived together imperfectly, getting it wrong sometimes and getting it right eventually. Sunrise. The end. Ghost.